all these men and women so that they can fulfill the purpose that he had for their life. And just like them, it is God who will sustain us. We want to talk about stewarding our calling. And in order to do that, I want us to understand something about God and his creation. God created all of us with a purpose and a calling. All of us, as children of God, we have a purpose and a calling. Now, let me establish something regarding purpose and calling. We all exist for the same purpose. You and I, as human beings, as children of God, we have one purpose, the reason why we exist, and it is to glorify God. That's the only reason why you are still turning oxygen into carbon dioxide. Because we are here on this earth to glorify God, to bring glory to God's name, to let the people around us know that God is who he says he is and that God has a plan. That is our purpose here on earth. We all have a God-given purpose. And it is the same for all of us, to give glory to God. Now, we also have a calling. And that's where we differ. Your calling is not my calling. My calling is not your calling. Your calling is not your brother's or your sister's calling. Each of us within our purpose have a specific calling. We have the same purpose, different callings. Each of us has been called to different places, different people, and different tasks. But they are all to the glory of God. You and I don't work in the same place. We do not have the same friends. We do not have the same family. We do not have the same knowledge. We do not have the same expertise. We do not have the same careers. We do not have the same motivations. We do not have the same place of everyday work. And that's on purpose. Because even though our purpose is the same, our callings do differ. Now, we have been called to the physical world within our calling. But we also are called to the spiritual world to fulfill a God-given purpose. We cannot make the mistake of only looking at what we do here on earth, and we cannot only make the mistake of thinking that only the spiritual world matters. We need to have a healthy balance of calling and purpose. We need to have a healthy balance of how we interact in the earthly realm, but also how we interact in the spiritual realm. We'll talk a little bit more about this, but I want you to understand a few things about our purpose, but specifically about our calling. When God speaks to Jeremiah, he says something very, very profound and very personal. And just as he speaks this to Jeremiah, he speaks this to you and I today. Jeremiah 1:5 says, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you." So God is telling Jeremiah, even before I had formed you in your mother's womb, you were already in my mind, you were already in my heart. And before you were even born, I consecrated you. In other words, even before you came out and breathed your first breath on this earth, I had already claimed you mine. I already had a purpose for you, and I already had a calling for you. I knew why I was putting you on earth. And then he says to Jeremiah, I appointed you a prophet to the nations.